What are some of the most underrated young adult fantasy books that you have ever read? Okay, now we all love the big hype books, but the thing with hype books is there are actually some like massively huge and insanely successful young adult fantasy series that I haven't liked. And like it doesn't mean they're bad, it's just they're not for me, and sometimes I'm like, and some of them I really like, but there's other books and I'm like, in my mind, these are so superior to the massive hype for these other books. And sometimes I think it's because they just don't get as much attention and more people would read them, but if they're not talked about, there's not hype and they don't really get that much attention. So I think they deserve attention and they need a lot of more hype around them. So first up is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, I believe. Okay, before I even talk about this book, we have to talk about how awesome the author is, because this cover isn't actually the cover. This is the original hardcover, and then they changed the covers for the other two series. But you want to know how amazing this author is? Yeah. Okay. If you go to her website, she has where you can download this redesigned cover. And for like $1.62, you can have it printed at Staples and cut it and then put it on. And then you have matching hardcovers. Now, if that's not a superhero, I don't know what is. Because if it didn't match, I would have been mad. Anyways. So first of all, she's awesome anyways, so you better love her books. This is the most complex, complicated, compelling young adult fantasy books I have ever read. It's got dragons. It has got a buttload of political intrigue and some of the best character dynamics and moral dilemmas. And it is incredible. Like, if you loved Aragon, this is like, oh my gosh. Anyways, so this book is basically about, I think it was like 9 years ago, the revolution, the rebels overthrew the government, and now there's like a regime, but there's questions of if it's any better than the old government of the dragon lords that they used to have. And it follows the character of one of the dragon lords. No one knows who his ancestry is, and they're in this fleet of dragons. I'm forgetting everything about this right now, but anyways, just like my mind is blown just thinking about this book and how complex and well thought out and plotted it is. Like, it is beyond amazing. And I'm gonna read you my favorite line from the prologue because it's that great. Okay, hold on. Even as many of the other details of the revolution began to fade from his memory, he remembered Leon Stormscourge. Leon's son, on the other hand, was a detail he forgot. Anyways, so that was the last line of the prologue, and it's just, I don't know why this book isn't massively successful, okay? And then it is a trilogy. I have read Flamefall. Flamefall is the second book. I have read this. It was just as equally complex, amazing. I have not read the third book yet because I have like amnesia when it comes to books, and I got busy in between after reading the second one. And so now I feel like I need to go back and read the first two again, which I'm so excited about because I want to remember everything before I read the third one. But I've heard this one is just like mind-blowing as well. Anyways, seriously underrated. It's got romance in it too. It's more secondhand. It's not at the forefront, but it is just absolutely incredible. Dragons, political intrigue, complex situations, moral. It's amazing. Anyway, so you need to read this. Okay, the next one is Blood and Moonlight and Silence and Shadow by Erin Beatty. I'm not sure how to say that name. This is Criminal Minds meets young adult fantasy. Okay, it's got character profiling. It's about this girl, and she like has this connection to moon magic, and she doesn't understand what's going on, but she is seeing through the eyes of victims who are essentially being murdered, and she doesn't understand why she has like these memories of these last moments of her life. And it's about her trying to help the inspector, whatever he's called, trying to figure out who is behind the murders. There was a point at this book when I literally suspected everyone Who is the actual killer? What in the world is going on? I took this book on vacation, which was a really horrible idea because I just blocked everyone and everything out. Didn't talk to my family. I was like, I need to know what happens. And I refused to look at the end of the book, so I had to know. Anyways, this was amazing. The romance was awesome. The mystery is just absolutely incredible. If you like Criminal Minds and you like young adult fantasy, this is amazing. And it is a duology, but it's not like cliffhanger or anything. But the second book does follow the second characters. The cover for this book. Okay. The cover for this book, guys. After I read the book, I came back and looked at the cover one day, and I was like absent-minded thinking of something, and then I realized what the cover meant. And I completely flipped out. Anyways, this is like the best cover depiction. Of course, the character art is gorgeous. But when you realize what it represents... Oh my gosh. Anyways. And this one was just as good. Even Silence and Shadow, the name. Once you realize what the name means. It's just absolutely incredible. I love Erin Beatty's books. She is the lady who wrote the Traitors Circle series. Espionage, YA fantasy, political intrigue. It's amazing. And... I will say, if you go read the blurb for this book, because I had seen this book before, and I read the blurb for it, and I was like, I don't know what that's talking about. And so I didn't add it. I read her other series, and then I realized she was the person who wrote this book, automatic buy. And it's incredible. You need to read it. All right. Next up is The Great Hunt and the Great Pursuit by Wendy Higgins. Yes, I know these covers look so 2010s. I'm sorry. When I tell you this is like one of the most unique YA fantasies I have ever read, with the magic and just what is going on. I will say it does not really read like a YA fantasy. Maybe more closer to like new adults. Not really. They're just the characters feel older, especially the main love interest person. But the storyline, if you listen to these on audio, the narrator is phenomenal. Incredible. Okay. But these were like some of the most realistic, just so good. These ones are a little heavier on the romance. Like, it's kind of obvious that she writes romance novels. So that was the only thing that I like kind of, because I'm not super into like the romancy stuff. But these are underhyped, man. Like, these were incredible. It's basically about, there's like this beast hunting the lands, and so the king makes a decree, whoever kills the beast can marry his eldest daughter. I know that sounds, but it's like, it's so good. Like, literally amazing. And the magic, it was so unique. I loved it. And it's a duology, and it is very connected. So you will want the second book pretty much the second you finish the first. So, but this is definitely upper YA. Okay, the last series I'm going to talk about is the Prison Healer series by Lynette Noni. Now, these books will not be for everyone because one of my favorite reviewers started reading this book and did not like it, and it almost broke my heart in half. But these are the books with the best plot twists I have found since reading Harry Potter like 5 years ago. I was on this massive high after finishing that series. These are the closest books I have come to that in terms of plot twists. My absolute favorite thing about Lynette Noni book, the way she writes books, she makes you think that she, the author, is stupid. And then she flips your entire world upside down. And if you've read her book, that makes perfect sense. When I was reading this book, I had a friend recommend it. And I was reading it and I'm like, yeah, this is good. But like, it's not like my favorite thing I've ever read before. Like, I can see why some people would really like it, but I'm like, I don't understand why my friend like loved it to this extent. And then I got to the end. I threw the book. I can't really say anymore because I want you to be as amazed at it as I was, but so underhyped. My favorite book was the second book. All the plot twists throughout the entire series are amazing. And I really need this series to blow up because I want movies of this. Calvin is my absolute favorite character and I love him and I need a book from his perspective. But these are so underhyped. She is incredible. You need to read the Prison Healer trilogy because it's going to blow your mind.